Welcome to Gray Acres. This three-point hitch, the pin was going the other way, and of course it was very difficult to remove with that hydraulic hose there, so I just reversed it and put it in the opposite way with the flat end to the left and the pin to the right. If that's not correct, you experts, I would love to hear from you. Well, this is what I received with the tractor, so I'm going to cut the tie wraps loose and see if I can figure out how all this fun stuff connects to there, so eventually I can connect this scraper blade. Welcome to Gray Acres again. What I did is made a few changes. The pin is still going from left to right with the little retainer clip on the right side. I moved the hydraulic line up and above this part of the hitch, and I ran the little protective cover kind of under to cover up that hydraulic fitting. I think that's better because these arms seem like they aren't obstructed and are not going to, well, I guess it could go up that high. So I think that's okay. I'm not sure. Again, experts, please comment. All right, I'm trying to figure out how to get this three-point hitch on, and I watched Tony's Tractor Adventures where he did a modification. Doesn't seem to be exactly like this. I think those sleeves need to slide over that bar. To get that bar loose, it looks like you have to take that 19 millimeter nut loose. So I'm going to do that, see what happens. All right, I took the nut loose, and there's a mechanism that was holding it in place. There's a bolt. And there's the rod, and again, I think those sleeves go over it, so I'm going to clean that rod up. All right, I cleaned the rod up some. It's not perfect. I didn't put a wire brush to it. I used wet sandpaper, and it's pretty smooth. What I'm going to do is put a coat of this white lithium grease, because that collar needs to move some, and I think that would help. All right, I put the sleeve with the turnbuckle towards the wheels on each side, left and right. As you can see, there's a gap there. I think it's there just so it can move a little bit. So let me continue and see if I got this right. Well, I did it wrong. This bar needs to be attached, which I didn't have previously, and that side, I guess down there, if you can see it, needs to go on the end. But the problem, I think I put this in first, and apparently you don't do that because I can't move this stuff. So let me try again. Well, I think I got it right now. I was wrong. The collar goes with the turnbuckle towards the inside, and I took everything else loose because for an old man, I think I've done a day's work just trying to get this thing together. And it's been about an hour, so obviously there's things to learn. I guess what would be interesting, if you have a backhoe, could you get a quick attach? And would that do any good with the backhoe? I guess obviously get the backhoe off first, and then you'd have to install the quick hitch, and then you wouldn't have to go through maybe some adjustments. So I'm not sure if it's worth having, but let's keep trying. All right, I think we got it basically back together. I got that 19 millimeter bolt snugged in. You can see that the turnbuckles are on that bar that goes across there, and that wasn't hard to remove, but to get all the stuff on and get it back, to me, was a job. I put the pins back in the turnbuckles, although I'm not quite sure what you do with the turnbuckles, but by gosh, I'm almost positive I'll learn that one later. So we're making progress. I'm going to try to hook up the blade soon, and we'll see what happens. Well, I think I got it right now. I was wrong. The collar goes with the turnbuckle towards the inside, and I took everything else loose because for an old man, I think I've done a day's work just trying to get this thing together. And it's been about an hour, so obviously there's things to learn. I guess what would be interesting, if you have a backhoe, could you get a quick attach? And would that do any good with the backhoe? I guess obviously get the backhoe off first, and then you'd have to install the quick hitch, and then you wouldn't have to go through maybe some adjustments. So I'm not sure if it's worth having, but let's keep trying. All right, I think we got it basically back together. I got that 19mm bolt snugged in. You can see that the turnbuckles are on that bar that goes across there, and that wasn't hard to remove, but to get all the stuff on and get it back, to me, was a job. I put the pins back in the turnbuckles, although I'm not quite sure what you do with the turnbuckles, but by gosh, I'm almost positive I'll learn that one later. So we're making progress. I'm going to try to hook up the blade soon, and we'll see what happens. All right, I think I got everything hooked up correctly. I'm concerned about this hydraulic hose, the way it's routed. It's routed above this arm, but this arm raises, and I think that'll be okay. But again, I like to watch Tony Tractor Adventures because he's an expert, and thank you, Tony, for your military service. I appreciate that, sir. But anyway, I think I got it going. I got the blade on backwards. So what I'm going to try to do is lift this thing up and then reverse the blade and bolt it down. And then I'm going to go out and see what happens. Well, this is with it, the 3-point fully raised. And as you can see, that's pinched. Not pinched, but it's tight. I don't think that's good. So I should have done it the way Tony's tractor did it, but I'll do it now. I'll reverse that and move it under this bar. Okay, I've reversed it now. I lost a tiny bit of hydraulic fluid. I guess that's okay. I'll check it later. I got another video on how to check it. I made myself a little popsicle stick tester because popsicles are wood, and it's obvious when that hydraulic fluid touches the wood, and I couldn't figure out very well what was what using that metal dipstick with that clear liquid. Another video, of course. Okay, thanks. All right, we got the backhoe on, and I turned it the correct way. I had the tapered end pointing forward, which is incorrect, and I bolted on these 5 24mm bolts, and that was more fun than I wanted to have. So anyway, not sure if I got anything set up right, but I'm going to go out there and see what happens. I'll let you know. Well, welcome to Gray Acres part something another. Anyway, I got the 3-point hitch on, and I just adjusted the blade to tilt. As you can see, I'm going to attempt to scrape some gravel driveway. We'll see if I'm successful or not. I got the blade tilted down at, I don't know, 10-15 degree angle. Pretty good angle. Maybe that's too much. Don't know. This is a Northern Tool scraper blade. What I don't like is that bolt. That bolt's just almost too short, and you got to push the blade up to get the nut started. That's difficult, so I'm going to try to find a better solution. So we'll see what happens. I'll show you in a minute. Well, so far, I'd say it's horrible. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I got it tilted too much. There you can see there. I think that's way too much. I'm going to back that off about half. And the blade is a 5-foot blade for a 4-foot tractor, so I think I need maybe to offset that blade a foot also. So I'll keep experimenting. I adjusted the tilt, and I think it's better. That seems to be about what the driveway is. I think the right way to do it, I could put a level on and measure how many degrees of slope, and I would think maybe 4 or 5 degrees would be enough. That would hopefully result in a crown in the road. I'm going to try this, then I'm going to go back onto my concrete driveway and try to move that blade over to the right, I think. So stay tuned. Once again, I think the pitch is a bit too much. You can see what I'm doing. I'm cutting in pretty deep on the right-hand side, and I'm just scraping the top of the crown, so I think I'm close, but maybe slightly too much. So I'm going to try to adjust the tilt a little bit more. If you have an MT125, you can kind of see where that nut's at. I'm going to go up about another 1/2 inch and see what happens. Welcome back. I use my air impact tool to get those nuts on and off. Much easier. I'll use it next time. And I offset the blade about a foot, so I think that'll help. And I got about, I don't know what pitch in degrees, but what I'm going to show you is, whoops, I think I got it upside down. That's probably making you stand on your head and you don't like that. Okay, let's try that one out. Maybe 3 3/8 of an inch, something like that, 3.5, over a 5-foot span. So that seems reasonable to me. Maybe a bit too much, but I'm going to try it and see what it does, and I'll report back to you.